All right. Hey, it's Joel Mark Witt here for Personality Hacker with my good friend and actually my energy coach, Glenn Ackerman. Glenn, welcome to chatting with me today.
Hey, thanks, Joel. Great to be with you.
Yeah. So basically, what happened, Glenn, is I've been talking about you to people in our community here at Personality Hacker. I've told you to many of our team members, friends of mine, our audience has kind of heard that I'm doing some energy work with you. And I thought, instead of me just talking about this all the time, I thought I'd hear it straight from the horse's mouth, invite you to have a quick conversation with me. It doesn't have to be that quick, but we can basically talk about what energy work is. What the
Okay.
heck is this stuff? What have we been doing together? And why do I keep telling everybody about it? So Glenn Ackerman, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do I need to know about Glenn Ackerman before we get started talking?
Well, probably that most of the people on the line can share the experience that I had, which is, I grew up in a great household with a lot of love, but a lot of arguing and fighting. In fact, my house was like World War III growing up, and for a child to be growing up with constant arguing and fighting and tension between parents, it does something to you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even want to, when I was a kid, I used to dread the weekends, when my dad was home and my mom, and they'd just be going off. And so home wasn't a safe place for me, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. In fact, I left home when I was 17, just to have some peace. And even though I left that turmoil and stuff behind, that stuff didn't leave me. It stayed with me. The anxiety, the stress, the fear, the worry, that just kind of being scared in your own skin. And I went out into the world and tried to make my way to be successful in a number of ventures in the arts and in business. And I noticed that while I was making progress in these things, this internal, I didn't even know what to call it at the time, this internal stuff that was blocking me, was interfering with my ability to have a great life. It was interfering with my confidence. It was interfering with my peace of mind. And everything, it was like there was a little saboteur in my head going, okay, how can we mess Glenn up today? What kind of thoughts can we throw in his way to destabilize him? Or, how can we worry or scare or frighten him? And so, with a lot of willpower, I thought I could overcome it, but I realized I started to see patterns that I knew were traced back to what I experienced at home. So I threw myself into the personal development arena and read all the books, took all the trainings, you name it. I walked on fire. I broke boards with my hand. I broke arrows with my neck. I mean, sweat lodges, incredible. In fact, I got so proficient at some of these things that I became instructors in a couple of these things. But the bottom line is that I made progress, but I never got that thing, whatever that was. I was able to placate it, but I wasn't able to dissolve it. And this is a good 20-year run, Joel, of stuff. I mean, and then I recognized and realized from my research that the personal development industry as a whole has a 97% failure rate. That means that whatever you're doing, people aren't satisfied. They got to go do something else. So they go to the next book, and they go to the next training, and they go to the next sweat lodge, etc. And so this is the place that I came from. I had a lot of success in my life, but what is success if you don't feel good inside? What is it if you can't enjoy the moment and being with people because you're so wrapped up in the anxiety and the fears? So it wasn't until on this journey I began to have teachers, and I had an energy master who introduced me to the power of energy and to the different dimensions that we live in that I had no idea about. I had another teacher who introduced me to science, to neuroscience, and how important that is in personal development. I had a spiritual teacher who taught me about the wisdom traditions back thousands of years, and all of these things kind of coalesced. And then I was able to, I don't know what the word is, but I got a realization or a download about how these things can come together. And that's what formed energy awareness training. And it was out of what I learned here, that I was able to clear out all of that stuff. I was able to do what I'd been searching for decades to do, clear out, dissolve the anxiety, the fear, the stress, the worry. And it was like taking on a new life, being clear inside. And and people started seeing the difference in me. This is about 10 years ago. And people started seeing the difference and asked me to help them. And I started helping and volunteering and one thing led to another, and it just snowballed into what I do now, which is energy awareness training, which is I teach people about energy and how to overcome any and all challenges internally and externally. Even if you've spent years trying to deal with these issues like I have, the message is that there's hope, and you'll see the results quickly as you have.
Absolutely. One of the things I really, as you were talking, that stood out to me, being in personal growth myself, being a leader in personal growth, and you were teaching a lot of these different systems and teaching personal growth to people, it's very easy for us in leadership positions, I think with any industry you're in, but if you have something that, like if you still have work to do, sometimes you can paint yourself into a corner as a leader and not be humble enough to continue to push yourself and look for the things that will actually make the difference for yourself. You get addicted to maybe being a prominent leader or somebody that has all the answers, and you can't look silly or stupid and go, oh, maybe I need to work on something inside myself still. And sometimes people will just keep pushing, but you stopped and went, there's something that isn't feeling right inside of me, and I'm not getting at it doing what I'm doing. So I need to figure out something else. And you did. And what I love about what the work we've been doing together, Glenn, in energy, is it feels very much like we're getting to the source of what's actually going on underneath the behavior or the surface of things. Like, in other words, if I'm in a fight with my wife, Antonia, like if we're like in an argument, I'm realizing there's a bunch of energies at play in the midst of that fight, on my side, on her side, in the room, and the dynamic maybe of the circumstances going on. And as I'm becoming more energy aware, as through our training, and we're looking at this, I'm seeing what's actually at play under the surface. And if I could address those, I've seen incredible amounts of basically success in my life, not just like the results I get, but success in like being well in life, like having a good life, enjoying my days, enjoying my relationships, and enjoying conflict, Glenn. That's something interesting, is to be able to enjoy conflict because you know what's going on in the conflict. You know why the conflict's happening. That's been a huge aha for me. So I don't know if you have anything more to say about that, but I guess what I'll say here is how, like.
No, I do. Let me just make a point on what you just said.
Yeah, just go ahead and make a comment on that, then I'll ask you more questions. I got a bunch of questions to ask you. So
one of the reasons that you and I met is because I work with thought leaders and personal development teachers and worldwide known leaders, such as where you heard me from. And what's interesting is that these leaders, they teach their own personal development systems in their own right, and they're successful and they do great work. But there are aspects like the one leader that I met you through. I mean, he's a world-class guy, teaches all over the world famous, and yet when he heard about my work, it resonated because in his work, there's no answer for the things that I teach. So in other words, when you're dealing with internal energy, as we'll be talking about it, there's no solution for it, or there hasn't been in the personal development field until energy awareness training came along. So the work itself is attracting thought leaders. Some of them want to be identified. Some of them want to keep it, on the QT. So that's fine with me. But I appreciate it as a leader and authority and a thought leader, in your own right, that you resonate with the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So for somebody watching right now or listening, and they're like, energy work, man, like I'm kind of interested. I trust Joel. Maybe you're somebody that has watched Personality Hacker or followed me, or maybe you even have heard a little bit about Glenn. You're like, what is this about? Like you kind of talked about your story, Glenn, but what are we actually doing here? Like, what is the tangible, give me an access point to help the person watching right now. How can they begin to see this as an access point of something they could have in their life? What does that look like? Okay.
So the end of my story is that I recognized that the personal development model, which is have a vision, create a goal, make a plan, work the plan, succeed. That was the plan that has a 3% success rate.
Sure.
So what really opened up my life was the ability to understand energy. And what do I mean by that? Well, our 7th grade teacher taught us that everything is energy. Even Einstein said we live in an energetic world. And the reasons why I discovered that change is so difficult is because we have hidden energies inside us. What do I mean by hidden energies? Hidden motivation, hidden influences, and they influence our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our behaviors. And I didn't know this. No one ever talked about this, but it's these hidden energies that are influencing us and have us have the life we have. And when you recognize that we're living in an energetic planet and that everything that we're dealing with is energy, people, computers, organizations, business, money, health, you name it, it's an energetic exchange. Getting along with people, energetic exchange. Making money, doing business, an energetic exchange. Keeping yourself healthy, an energetic exchange. Now, when you see that things are energy, and in my teachings, you recognize that all energy has a power, it has a purpose, it moves in a direction, and it has a frequency and gives off information. That is a powerful new discovery to be able to see your life in another dimension and beyond the normal waking dimensions. And I think the power of when people ask me about this is that we're primarily living our lives in a 3-dimensional world, what we can see, what we can feel, what we can hear, etc., what we can measure. But science says that we're living in a 10 to 12, maybe even higher dimensional world. So at least 10 or 11 dimensions here. And if we're only accessing 3, that means we're only seeing about 20% of what's going on. And when you begin to understand and become energetically aware, you go from 20% to 60, 70, 80%, because you're able to read invisible energies and see the direction that they're going in, see the information they're going, seeing the frequency they're in. And energy has principles. I'm sure we'll go over this today. It has principles, and you're able to see the results of what previously you go, why do things happen? Most of us think that our lives are just kind of like random hodgepodge. It's, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why that happened. Why this happened? I don't know why this happened. When we become energetically aware, the jigsaw puzzle comes together, and you go, I see, because you're able to see the hidden energies in the higher dimensions. So they're no longer hidden. So you can say, that's why that relationship didn't work out, or that's why this business deal went this way, or this is what. So it's really discovering a whole new world, Joel, of life, kind of like having X-ray vision. These specks where you can go, oh wow, I never saw that before. And that was the driver that put me over to be able to make the changes I wanted to make in my life, recognizing the hidden energies. Just as an example, the metaphor I use is the metaphor of the iceberg. 10% above the water, and then 90% below the water, right? And the Titanic wasn't sunk by the 10% it could see. It was sunk by the 90% that it couldn't see. So I have a saying that says, that which we can see, we can control, but that which we can't see controls us. And you'll be amazed at how these energies that you're not aware of are controlling your beliefs, controlling your behaviors, controlling your thoughts and your attitudes. So when you become energetically aware, all of a sudden things become more clear, and you have more tools and more power to deal with your life.
Yeah. Like a real basic, simple example from my life is, super basic, and probably you watching have had an experience like this. You're surfing social media and some news article or somebody says something that upsets you, because I think most people, when they're on social media, Glenn, probably have a lot of challenge getting through the day without being upset about something. There's so much outrage in the world. And it's weird. I might be going through my day having a great day. I take a lunch break. I check Facebook. I check Twitter. I read something, some article or something somebody said, something somebody posted. I'm like, whoa, I feel offended about this. And now my whole day has the potential to be ruined because some piece of information came into my sphere. And you could argue and say, well, that's just information, just ignore it, let it go. But as we've been working together, I'm starting to see all of these things as energies in my world, and I'm letting them in or not. And so I like check my social media, and all of a sudden I'm in a grumpy mood. I'm like, it might take me hours to recover. I feel outraged. I feel upset. And through our work, I've stopped myself and gone, what's going on here? Why do all of a sudden do I feel chaos, disruption, upset, attached to an outcome? What is going on here? And I'm realizing that, like, I'm watching throughout my day, these energies at play. They cycle. There's different things coming at me different times. That's just a basic example from social media. But this, I think it's happening for all of us all the time, right? We're engaged in things that are happening almost to us, and we feel like sitting ducks as humans. We feel disempowered. We don't know what to do about it. And so we get mad, we struggle, we fight toward it. And it's through the energy work that I've realized, well, before I can even address any of that, I got to get myself centered. I got to get myself in a good energetic space. And then it really doesn't matter what's happening in my world, because I'm the center point of calm. I'm the center point of taking control of my energy and having a platform that allows me to deal with anything, good or bad, that comes into my life throughout my days. So it's been very powerful in that. And I guess that's why I'm saying that, is I think sometimes you listening might have a difficult time seeing the woo-woo, quote unquote, which, you know, seems abstract and woo. How do you connect that to something practical? How does this actually impact us throughout our days? I don't know if you have any other examples, Glenn, but that's how I see it.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. You remind me of a point. When we're talking about energy, you know, this is kind of a new concept in personal development. I think it's going to be the state of the art here in a few years. Mostly when you talked about energy, people are thinking about oil or gas or solar panels, or sometimes when you talk about energy, people think about new age crystals and fairies and stuff. What we're talking about is science. It's a scientific fact that you and I are energetic beings, and we're living in an energetic world. There are molecules in motion. In fact, one of the greatest scientists of our time, Nikola Tesla, said, if you really want to understand the secrets and the mysteries of life, then you'll start to look at things in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Wow. Now, that's what I'm doing. And I'm recognizing that we as energetic beings, we all have energy, and we're sending out energy, and we're receiving it every day. Every human being on the planet is sending out energy. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, whatever your internal state is, you're sending it out, and you're also receiving energy from the environment around you. Now, I have a saying that I teach in the work that says, light doesn't come to you, it comes from you. Okay? And that's a real powerful paradigm shift, because what we are giving off internally, the vibration, the frequency, is what we create out here. And that's when you find your power, when you go, you know what, all of this stuff I'm seeing out here, you know, I'm creating it internally. If I'm concerned about money, for example, and I'm worried about it, well, I'm going to create that out here. How can I not? Because that thought, that energy runs my thoughts, feelings, and emotions and behaviors. If I'm worried about my relationship, or I'm worried about the economy, whatever that is, you're going to create that in your experience. You know, it's not a belief. How can you not create it? Because that's what you feel and you believe. So when you recognize that, then with what I'm doing with you and all my students is clearing all the stuff, the internal energy that you don't want, the vibration, the frequencies that you don't want, and that are pulling you down, and increasing the frequencies that want to build you up. And this is what energetic awareness is all about. I use the example of the body. You know, every day we have to clean our bodies, and we have to maintain them with sleep and food, etc. If you don't, the body's going to break down. Well, we have an energetic body that you can't see, but you can certainly feel. And it's recognized by some of the top scientists today. And this energy body is the same thing as our physical body. It's the same thing. Every day we have to deal with stress, with worry, with agitation. And that clings like sweat to our bodies. the energy clings to our energy body, that anxiety, that stress, that worry, fear energy. And I teach you, if you don't clean it, it's going to accumulate. So one of the things that's important to recognize is that energy is always expanding. And the good energy creates more good energy, and the bad energy creates more bad energy. So this is what it means to be energetically aware, to be able to have that energetic, what I call cleanliness. Just like you clean your body, you clean your energy too. And that makes a big difference in your day.
Yeah. I think, Glenn, you and I, and probably you listening as well or watching as well, we all have had the experience of seeing somebody having that bad energy day, or even periods of days. And maybe even, I mean, I've had it in my life too, where I guess I've gone through my life or my day and I've been attached, I've been grumpy, I've had a down day, and it like nothing goes well, almost because I entered the day that way. I mean, it's one of those things, like you get out of life what you put into it, I think is something a lot of us just go through understanding, which just, that makes like normal, like common sense. But when you start to see like, there's more nuance here, there's more discipline here, there's more to be aware of than what seems to be obvious, or just the colloquial sayings that our parents gave us. You'll get treated how the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. There's these maxims, these sayings that got encoded in our culture or our religious upbringings or whatever, that I think were probably little distilled nuggets that some wise person at one point kind of really understood how these energies work. And then they distilled it down to like this little pithy soundbite, like, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But probably what was happening there is they realized that what I put out in the world comes back to me probably tenfold or in magnitude. So put out good stuff in the world and good stuff will come back. And that's where we get a lot of these little phrases and sayings, would be my guess. I don't know that to be true.
Now people want to make that, let's go a little bit deeper on this.
Yeah.
So the big revelation is that these energies, there's multitudes, hundreds of energies pulling us in different directions. So for example, people say, well, these energies are interacting, they contact you, they're trying to influence you every day, internally as well as externally.
Yeah.
So when you have a pull, let's say you want to make a decision to lose weight or start working out, okay? And that's an energy, that's a direction. Remember, purpose, power, direction. So that there's the one frequency, the energy, I call it a high vibration energy frequency. And this is the frequency that wants you to be happy, joyful, abundant, to recover and move in your full potential. Well, that energy's purpose is to build you up. So in the terms of losing weight or working out, it says, yeah, work out. It's better for you. You'll be healthy. You'll be happier. That's great. You get inspired and you start your program. But in a week or two, maybe 3, there's another energy that surfaces. Yeah. And I call that the low vibration energy. And its purpose is to block the high vibration energy by creating chaos, distraction, worry, procrastination. So you have this other energy that goes, I don't want to work out today. I know I said I would, but I really don't feel like, or gee, I should stay on my diet, but I'd love to eat this lemon pie here. So what do we have? We have 2 energies. This is a great example of what I'm talking about. You have one energy pulling you one way. You have another energy pulling you the other way. And I think it was Abe Lincoln who said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And this is one of the reasons why change is so difficult. Because in that example, the guy who wants to lose weight or work out, he's dealing with these energies, and the low vibration energy is a strong energy. So is the high vibration. So if you got gridlock here, and then 3 or 4 months, you go, forget it, and he quits, and he feels bad about it. Well, that's an example of being influenced by energies. People think, oh, it's just us. No, it isn't. You're influenced constantly by these energies. And the irony is that the good energies we have to make time for. We have to make an effort to connect to it. But the energies that we don't want come to us. They deliver like Domino's Pizza every day, a new batch of low vibration or negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So energy awareness training is learning how to manage these energies. And every human being's got to learn how to manage them anyway. Where you're managing them whether you know what you're doing or not. Yeah. But unfortunately, the low vibration energy has a strong pull. And that's why, Shakespeare said most people are living lives of quiet desperation, because we're constantly dealing with these thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if you don't have the skills or the training, more often than not, that low vibration energy wins.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever read Stephen Pressfield's work. He wrote the book, The War of Art and Do the Work. They're very short reads. If you've never read them, Glenn, you should read them. And you watching should read them too. They're especially if you're a creative person. So they're very short reads. He wrote this book about the creative process and how it's a very delicate process to be an artist and to create. And in The War of Art, he talks about, as you begin to create in the world as an artist, there's going to be something that he's labeled, he calls it the resistance. He almost he almost paints it as like this entity that's out to stop you from creating in the world. And it really resonates kind of some of the stuff you talk about. He almost personifies this idea of resistance that wants to disrupt you, stop you, and hinder you from bringing your best creative self forward. He doesn't really talk about energy work at all in the book, but basically he's, from my standpoint, this is how I read it, he's kind of tapped into something that you talk a lot about, Glenn, which is this idea of, when you try to do something good, there can be resistances, these you call them low vibration energies that come up to stop, disrupt, create chaos, delay, procrastination, all these things. And in my life, the most insidious thing about that disruption or that resistance that comes up, the low vibration energy, is how noble it often presents itself. So like you said, I have to go work out at the gym or something, or I got to do something, and then all of a sudden, some noble distraction comes up, some noble thing. When I say noble, I put noble in quotes, but it's masquerading as something noble or positive. Like it might be like, I don't know, my kid needs me to pay attention to them and talk to them about something. I have plenty of time all day, but right now they need my attention when it's time to go to the gym. So I'm like, well, I can't leave my son hanging. I'm supposed to go to the gym, but he really needs my attention right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him attention right now. And then secretly, I've just been disrupted from the path of going to the gym today. But it was like so insidious and so crafty, this resistance that came up to get me away from the thing that I know will create like positive trajectory in my life for this other noble pursuit, like maybe spending some time with my son because he's going through a tough time. And it just came up out of nowhere right before I'm ready to leave for the gym. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This kind of thing happens to me all the time. Like all the time, Glenn. I'm like, what is going on? Like that is just something, and I'm sure you watching maybe have a similar experience. I don't know. So
now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know. So what's new and unique about this is that there's a process operating below our awareness, and this process, the process is again, processes that want to lift you up, support you, processes that want to take you down. Now, the processes that want to take you down are very sneaky and very covert. They don't come with a sign that says, hey, it's this low vibration energy today with your daily self-sabotage routine. It doesn't work that way. It operates below our ability to recognize it. So at the end of the day, when you go, dang, I didn't work out today, shoot, and that brings you down. It brings you feelings of shame or guilt or beating yourself up because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And that's the area or the zone of low vibration energy: disappointment, lack, beating yourself up, anxiety, stress. So being energetically aware has you be able to see how these work out before they're on top of you, to be able to recognize, okay, I'm going to go to the gym today at 4:30. I've got to prepare what I'm going to do. And now you're going, okay, be alert for the last minute call. Be alert for the person who's going to want to take you out, because it usually happens all the time. When you're energetically aware, that you're forewarned is forearmed. And this is the ability to take back. This is what I teach. Take back your energy. Take back your consciousness, because there's a force that wants to take it from you, that wants to influence your thoughts, that wants to dumb you down, that wants to keep you, quote, safe in your comfort zone, when it's the enemy of your personal growth. And this is the missing link towards the personal development, personal growth, and high performance movements that need to take. Without the understanding of energy, you're just battling thoughts. That's what people say in the books. Just think positive. Your thoughts create everything. So I have a thought that says, well, I'm not good enough, or things aren't going to work out. And then I'll go, okay, well, I'll put a positive thought in there. Yes, it will. No, it won't. Yes, it will. No. So I'm playing thought ping pong in my head. Meanwhile, not getting anything done or not moving forward.
Right.
And I a saying that I teach, which is, you can talk about something until you're blue in the face, but nothing changes until energy moves. And when you move the energy, that's when the power kicks in. And that's where you're able to attain your highest potential, kicking in your energy.
Glenn, I resonate so well with what you just said. Nothing changes till energy moves. Like 2 weeks ago, so my wife and Tony and I, we work together, we live together, we're married, so we do a lot of stuff together. So often conflict will arise. So it's just the natural course of being an intimate relationship. We have a great relationship. I like conflict. I think it's the pathway to intimacy. But sometimes it gets intense. Like you're in the middle of a battle with somebody you love, and so you're like, and another thing, and you're upset and you're worked up. And one of the things that working with you has been able to help me do is, in the middle of some of like arguments and things, go, wait, this is not a good energy we're in right now. Like literally stop in the middle of a conflict and be able to go, like, know that we have to move energy. So like, I'll even do stuff where like we'll change physical location, or I'll stop and I'll say, you know what, let me go and I'm going to go do some breathing in the other room for just a moment to get myself centered. Let's continue talking. Or we'll move somewhere else. Or I'm like, you know what? I don't know why this is. I'll just ask questions. Like, why are we all of a sudden fighting about this? This isn't that important to us. So I'll start to like shift my energy. And I realize when I do that, those conflicts go much faster, and we could actually get to resolution much quicker, because I'm like stopping this process. I can feel my almost getting worked up on a trajectory one direction. And I'm going, wait a second, because I know what to look for, right? Energetically. This isn't going to end well. We're continually getting more and more like locked into something, and nothing's going to happen if we get on that road. So like letting go, backing up, reframing, moving my energy first, and then re-engaging through the conflict. To me, it's been an incredible tool to have at my disposal. I've really benefited from it. So I think I don't know if you've seen that work in other people's relationships as well, but that's how I've been personally applying it in mine. Yeah.
Relationships, at least here in California, there's like a 70% divorce rate. It's 50% nationwide, but 70% here in California. And one of the things that energy awareness training does is that it neutralizes the dangerous energies. So you had an interesting belief here that says conflict breeds intimacy. Okay. Well, that might mean in your subconscious mind that you ain't going to have intimacy unless you have conflict, and that's true. That could easily be moved into a low vibration energy. The thing I would say is that you keep moving, becoming energetically aware, so you don't need conflict, so that you can negotiate from a high vibration energy place whatever you need. And you speak about relationships. I'll give you an interesting story. I had a friend of mine, a guy that I knew many years, who knew about my work, and he called me about a year or so ago, and he said, Glenn, I want you to help me. I know you do energy work, and I want you to help me because I'm going through a divorce now. I go, you are? And he and his wife, they had married like 12, 15 years and had kids. I mean, they were like the poster child for a happy couple. So I was taken aback, and he says, I just, no matter what I do, I just can't make her happy. I just had it up to here. I can't deal with it. So help me deal with my emotions and relieve my anger so we can have an amicable divorce. I says, oh, okay. And then I went to talk to his wife, and the wife says, I said, God, you guys getting divorced? I thought you were so happy. Or she goes, we were, but you know what? I just can't put up with him anymore. I just had it up to here. Basically said the same thing. I had it up to here. I can't deal with that. And I go, have you guys been to marriage counselors? Oh, yeah, we've been to 3 of them. And, it's just our weekly war with the referee, and the last marriage counselor said, I think you guys would be better apart. So that's why we're going through the divorce. Now, here's the power of energy awareness training. They're dealing with their problems, in the third dimensional world. He said, she said, he leaves the cap off the toothpaste. He doesn't put the towel on the rack, whatever. What I'm hearing is that their energy bodies are filled to the max with low vibration energy. And any relationship that you get in, just living life, you're going to fill that energy body. Remember, we talked about that earlier. You're going to fill that. And over time, over years, there's going to be stress, there's going to be anxiety or arguments, etc. You're making regular low vibration energy deposits into that energy body to the point where it's like a pressure cooker. You fill that thing up to the absolute max, and if you put one more thing in there, what happens?
It's going to pop.
It's going to pop and explode. So here's what I did. I said to them, great, I'll be happy. What I want to do is I want to clear your energy. I want to clear it's been 12 years. You guys got some, I'm sure you got some energy to clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear his energy. I'm going to clean her energy. And then I'm going to clean the energy around the relationship. Because a relationship is an energy form. Okay, it's an actually living energy form. And theirs wasn't doing too well. So after I did that, clean him, clean her, clean the energy. Now I say, okay, now all that low vibration energy is gone, and all you have now is high vibration. So what do you want to do from a high vibratory place? And I took them back basically to the place where they first met, and they fell in love. And I let them go. And they called me a couple of weeks later, said we reconciled, we're not mad at each other anymore, and this helped us tremendously. And thank you. So what did I do? I didn't get involved in their issues. I just cleaned the energy. And that's the power of energy awareness training. You clean the energy, miracles happen. And that's true in business. That's true in relationship. That's true in health and virtually everything that we're dealing with, because it's an energetic world and you've got to deal with energy one way or the other.
By the way, thanks for calling me on that belief. I'd never really thought of it that way before. That I have a belief that intimacy is created through conflict, and it may not be serving me. And no one's ever really pointed that out. So thanks for, I guess in a public format on an interview, you pointed out. But I want to
live.
No, yeah, but I want to hear those things. I'm eager to hear those kind of beliefs, because I think it's always been my truth that when I hear those things and I work on them and think about them, my life continually improves. And I still have challenges and problems, but I am entering a life with joyful expression, more happy each day, more excited to live each day. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. See, that's a thought form that turns into a belief. And we hold on to our beliefs very solidly. We're not even aware of that. You may have picked that up somewhere, but that's an energy that's creating a certain outcome. And we all have hundreds of these in our lives. And when we clear that out, it's like a garden hose. If you got a belief that you can only have intimacy and pleasure through conflict, you're going to stop your energy. That energy is going to be blocked. Well, if you unkink the hose and recognize that and move towards a more high vibration energy, how about it's through loving and kindness and communication that I create intimacy. That's a more high vibration energy, which will create more high vibration. Remember, you guys learn one thing, in this interview: high vibration energy, the stuff we like, the stuff that makes us feel good, the stuff that empowers us. High vibration energy attracts more high vibration energy. Unfortunately, so does low vibration energy attracts more low vibration energy. So much of what I teach in the course is the ability to make sure you're in high vibration energy and you stay out of low. But the kicker is that the low vibration energy is constantly trying to pull you in, through your thoughts, like, oh no, what if this happens? Oh no, what if that happens? It's trying to pull you into that zone of worry, fear, and doubt every day. So if you don't have the energetic skills, most of us find ourselves, what about, did I leave the front door open? Oh, is there gas in the car? Oh, did I pay that bill? And it wants to bring us into stress and anxiety, where if you're energetically trained, you can deal with life. It's not that you're not dealing with stuff. Of course you are, but you're dealing with it from a high vibratory energy, which makes you feel good and continues to build your health up. Yeah. So that's the healthy way.
So the person watching right now, is potentially asking themselves, like, would I be ready for something like this? Because I'm sure your answer would be, this is for everybody. Everybody could benefit from this, right? And there are probably people that are prepared, or not prepared, but there are people in stages of life that are more ready for this kind of work than others, just because they'd have to, like, I don't know if 10, 15 years ago, I might've been like, come on, Glenn, this is crazy talk. But I've done a lot of work in my life, and I've like seen a lot of stuff to go, this isn't just not crazy. This is probably actually what's going on to the surface. And I don't care if people think I'm crazy for thinking that, because like I see and experience this in my life. But I know that I had to be at a stage to be able to do this work. So I think probably anybody, especially if they're in crisis, would benefit from this work. Like if they're in a massive crisis and you came in and did work with them directly and helped them move their energy and feel better about whatever situation was, you know, almost as support. But somebody that wanted to proactively go, I really want, like what Joel's doing, work with Glenn, learn energy awareness, be able to hook it up into my life as a leader, as a creative person, whatever. How do they know when it's a good time to do that? Like, is there something that you kind of vet people and say, you're maybe not ready yet, or you're totally ready, or you're too ready? I don't know. Like, how do you see it? How would you approach that?
A couple of different ways. Funny you mentioned that. I had recently I had a famous rock star's wife who was doing recording nearby with a friend of mine, and she just got the word that her husband was going to divorce her after 40 years. I won't mention the name because they're very famous, and they called me over because she can't stop crying. We can't get the session. She's just a basket case. And I worked with her for 30 minutes and brought her back to happy and joyful and okay, whatever, to deal with it. So the results, we get results quick in personal change, and everybody's going to go through some kind of challenge in life. I mean, you can't not. Yeah. Things are always changing. And the funny thing about it is, you know, growing up, no one taught us the most important things, I think, about behavior, which is how do you deal with loss? How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with frustration? How do you deal with where, you know, you're here and you want to be here, and you're making steps forward. You take 2 steps forward, now 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. If you've ever felt that there was something pulling you back, or there was something other than meets the eye taking place.
Sure.
So I would say you're going to need these skills in dealing with life for whatever in the process of stuff. And I tell people, you know, nobody needs any help when everything's going great. Mm-hmm. But it's when our life goes upside down, that's when the damage can be done. Yeah. And if you're energetically trained, you know, part of what I teach is the ability to be able to manage anything that goes on, and to be able to stay in a high vibratory, vibration, no matter what happens. And that's what I call energetic and emotional freedom, mm-hmm. because life is constantly throwing stuff at us, trying to upset us, trying to take us, you know, into uncharted places. And if you don't have the skills, you can, the low vibration energy can attack you. And that's when people make unwise moves, go into alcohol or drugs or downward spiral or into depression. And some people even end their lives. And this is all a matter of energy. So, I mean, if you want to know about life, if you really want to know how this thing works, you know, and how this planet we've all been dropped on, how it works, it's an energetic planet, and you've got to know about energy. But let's say someone doesn't care about that. They say, here's another reason why you'd study energy awareness training. Let's say you're a businessman and you want to get the competitive edge. Well, when you're energetically trained, you can know the future. You can know where, because you're energy aware, you know the characteristics of energy. So when you're able to read what energy a person is in, or a company it's in, or a business deal is in, and the energies always give you information, the low vibration, the high vibration, it's telling you. So for example, you know, have you ever been maybe in a relationship, or you dated someone, and in the beginning it was fantastic, and you think, well, they look good, they sound good, okay, I'm going to go and do this. So you date for a while, and over time, the thing starts to shift, and what was a dream becomes a nightmare, and it just gets so tough, you finally just bail out of the thing and battered and bruised, and you say, oh my gosh, if only I had known then what I had known now, I never would have done it. Well, my question is, why didn't you know then? And I love it when people say, there was a voice inside of me that said, don't do it, don't do it. And it was a warning to me, and I didn't listen. Well, why didn't you listen? Basically because you weren't energetically aware of the forces inside you. There was one force that says, don't do it, and there's another force that said, go ahead and do it. So the benefits, just business-wise, to be able to know, if someone is this someone I should hire? Is this someone I should marry? Is this a project I should get involved in? When you're able to read the energies, before you get involved. And we've all heard the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth 10 pounds of cure. So that's what I would say to anybody. It's crucial information for any human being walking the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, there were two reasons why I'm going down this road. The one is what you talked about with the business side of things. So at Personality Hacker, my role, my responsibility is leading as a leader here. We create live events. I have to create a space, secure a perimeter in a space, and help give a positive energy for learning to happen, personal growth and transformation to happen. Often I have to help frame and create spaces for the media we create, like interviews like this or our podcast or whatever. And obviously my wife, Antonia, does this with me as well, but I see a lot of the responsibility in helping create that space and knowing what needs to come and what our team needs and what our audience needs and all of that. I wanted to be very proficient at understanding what energies are at play. And I begin using it immediately. Like I've been using it in our business and our lives very pragmatically. So that was reason number one. Reason number two for me was more, I guess I could call it selfish, but it was, I want to be able to have the ability in my daily life, no matter the circumstance I'm in, whether I'm in prison, whether I'm on the beach, drinking a great drink and laughing with friends, whether I'm in an argument with someone, whether I'm leading people, whatever it is, my car's broken down and the rain
will keep you out of prison, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is no matter what happens to me, this corporal body, I want to be able to be a joyful expression in every moment of my life. Because I realize, like, when I ask myself to what end, or what's the end point of all this? What's the meaning of all this? Like, I can feel good and present and joyful right now in the midst of any circumstance. And then life's almost like a giant video game. It's just stuff happening in my life. But if I can be in control of my energy and how I show up to those things, I can have an amazing experience no matter the circumstance. Like, even if things are going bad, I can be having fun and having a great, joyful experience. That to me is such true power. There is such power in being able to access a high vibrational energy state and being in joyful expression, no matter what the circumstances in my life, and being able to feel good throughout my days, even when circumstances would, normally ourselves would say, well, in this circumstance, I can't be happy, and still being happy and joyful in those moments. To me, that is true success. Like, that's how I define success. And that's what I want for my life. I want to be able to go through my life just with that joyful expression available to me all the time. And doing the work with you has really given me a lot of the skills that I can access that more readily than I've ever been able to access it before. So I want to say thank you to some of the techniques and things you've given me, because I think I think I have a predisposition to want to live joyfully. And this has given me a lot of language and exercises and discipline and codification around how I can achieve the thing that I think I've always desired in my life. Does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Sure.
So I just really appreciate that work. So I guess one of the things I like to do too, and when I'm talking with people, is I like to give something tangible that the person watching right now could go away with. You've talked about a lot of great concepts. So I think that we've already given a ton of value, but what is something maybe like a little exercise, something maybe to notice in life or to go through life, or to, what could you give me and somebody watching that we could take away from this as a valuable, like, okay, I'm going to go look for that now, or I'm going to sit with that or resonate with that. Do you have any like little nuggets of something you could give us?
Sure. Here's the first one. Recognize that there are energies influencing you every day.
Yeah.
And a great example of that is our thoughts. We have roughly 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day. And not all of those thoughts are our own.
Hmm.
And that was a revelation with me. I was driving across the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm from San Francisco. I was driving across the bridge one day, and it was a beautiful day. And I don't know if you've been on there, but it's
Oh, yeah.
it's a 2-lane kind of highway, and the only thing that separates the ongoing cars are these plastic tubes. So there are a lot of accidents on the bridge, a lot of fatalities. Oh, God forbid, on the bridge too. So I'm driving across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm listening to the speak in my head. You know, the thoughts are going, oh, look at that view. Great view. Oh, it's a nice day. Hey, the car's running great. You know, I'm listening to this ongoing commentary in my head. And it should be a great day. You know, you're on your way to a date. Everything should be working wonderfully. And then the thought says, why don't you drive it across the divider into the ongoing traffic and see what happens? What? Drive it. It's clear. That thought was as clear as I'm talking to you right now. Just jump the divider and drive head on to the ongoing traffic and see what happens. I went, wow, that is not my thought. That didn't come from me. That's not in my, something or somewhere can plant thoughts into my head that want to hurt me, that want to sabotage me, that want to pull me away from my good. Holy smokes. And that was one of the first telltale signs that these energies approach us and sometimes even attack us. If you've gotten up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom sometimes, you know, every problem you ever had, just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about this? It's the most horrible thing. So understand that you're living in an energetic world, and these energies are actively influencing you. You have hidden energies that are influencing, and a lot of them work through your thoughts. So here's a nugget to take away. Don't believe everything that you think. Guard your thought processes to recognize that there are danger thoughts that get thrown in there. And this really opened my eyes, because how about the thoughts when we were kids? Remember, I went to a new school once, and when I went to the new school, the thoughts in my head go, nobody likes you. Nobody wants to be your friend. You're not good enough. You're going to be, you know, it's like there's somebody attacking me in my head. Holy smokes. And when I recognize, whoa, that is a low vibration energy and it's not me, and I can control that if I have the energetic tools to deal with it. You can't control it with another thought. Because if I just say, the thought goes, you're not good enough. And I go, yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. You've got to move the energy. And one of the original things I teach people is breathing methods to get out of your head. See, as I mentioned, everything has an energy to it. And that includes our bodies. That includes places. So one of the places where we get stuck is when our energies get shut down in our head. You ever heard the term, oh, this guy's in his head, right? Yeah. You hear what does that mean? That means your energy's constricted up here and it can't get out. And energy's like water. If I have a cup, but you have a cup of water here and I pour water into it and I leave it for 3 weeks and I come back, that energy, that water is going to be dirty because it hasn't been moving. But when you look at a river, how the river is constantly moving and cleaning itself through the rocks, that keeps it clean. So the nuggets I can give you is don't believe everything you think. Watch your thoughts. Stay out of your head if you can, and concentrate on making sure that if you get any kind of energy attack, just start the breath going. I don't know if we have time to go through any methods, but breath moves energy. That's why breathing is so important. Breathing. I have a saying that says, energy flows where attention goes. So if my attention is stuck in my head, I'm trying to figure something out. Or another nugget is trying to figure out something you don't know the answer to. That creates
I do that.
stuck energy. I call it doing laps around a closed loop.
Yeah.
You're asking yourself a question you don't know the answer to. It's like looking in a drawer for the answer. The drawer is empty. You keep looking in the drawer, it's going to take you down. So there are just tips like this that can really benefit you. And then when you start learning how to take back your energy and clean it, makes all the difference in the world. So I think that's a good place to start.
That's great. Why are you doing this? Why do you care?
That's a good question. I care because I suffered. I care because I experienced pain and and very deeply, and went through a lot of these energies caused me a lot of pain and sorrow and heartache. And when I was able to heal that, I think when you're able to heal yourself, you want to help other people. And I recognize now that if the world had these tools, we could eliminate emotional suffering. We could eliminate emotional suffering, because most emotional suffering is unnecessary if you have these energy tools. I'm not saying pain, pain sometimes opens up new opportunities, but for us to suffer over the past, or for us to suffer over things that may or may never happen, is completely useless. And I believe that these tools can create, for the people who are really serious and dedicated, who want to have a better life, you can create emotional and energetic freedom, which is the ability to overcome the limitations of this third dimensional world and be happy, joyous, and free, or at least in a resourceful state all the time, no matter what's taking place. And that's the power of it. And that's the promise of this work to everybody who gets involved. And I have hundreds of testimonies of people who have attained this place of energetic freedom. And it's an awakening. And that's what I call it. It's an awakening that the heaviness of life and the burdens of life are unnecessary. If you're energetically aware, you can transcend them to live the life that you came here for and to reach your full potential. And I believe that's the opportunity for every human being to reach their full potential if they have the energetic skills. And I am humbled and grateful that I'm the channel for this, at least for now, to get this work out.
I think it's awesome. And I appreciate that I think one of the things I love is rubbing shoulders with people that are in different avenues and channels. Like there's people that are super into health and wellness, teaching people how to get their physical bodies strong and lean. And there's people that are into specific relationship techniques and advice. I'm helping people figure that out. And then there's people like yourself that are helping individuals understand some of the fundamental energies at play that inform a lot of those other things, right? The personal growth that we all do in whatever area of our life. What I think I love about the energy work that we've often talked about or that we are talking about right now and working together on, is it's the underpinning of a lot of this. Like it really is under the surface of a lot of the things that are happening in my life and you listening or watching in your life, Glenn. Like it is something that impacts us so much. And it's something that I have really awoken to, the significance that's there and how much power it's been for me. So I'm very grateful that somebody like yourself is dedicating to the work to help people around this.
I'd mention one other thing too that came to mind, and that is I work with a lot of very successful people, at least success in terms of money, in terms of prestige, and in terms of power. And there was a great quote by Jim Carrey, who said, "I wish everybody could be rich and famous and have every material desire they want, so they'll see that that's not the answer." And to have these things without self-fulfillment, without the joy in your life, without happiness, it's meaningless. And that's one of the things I've observed. Some of my students are, on the cover of People magazine and very well known on TV. You see them in the movies, and you think, well, geez, they got everything. But if you don't have joy and what I call high vibration energy, you're just going through the motions, which is why we see so many celebrities, recently in the past years, end their own lives, because you think, what? They got everything. And it's still not enough. You got everything that this world could offer you in the 3 dimension, but it's not enough, because our energies, some might call it a soul, our energies are multidimensional. It's not meant to be limited into this world where we can transcend beyond this physicality. And that's the message that I want to bring. Hey, have success, but have your own peace of mind and be able to enjoy what you have. And that's the core of it. I think that's the core of living, the joy. You can always replace money, you can always replace businesses and material things, but you can't replace your own self-esteem and the love that you have for life And that's something that needs to be nurtured just like everything else.
And it's something that won't be someday. Like we keep thinking in our life, well, someday I'll be happy when whatever, fill in the blank, right? Like we always think that the next relationship, the next job, the next opportunity, the next $1 million you make, or, I mean, we all have our own stories as humans, that thing is going to be the thing that makes us finally happy. And it's been in my life creating success that you're absolutely right. And so, in fact, sometimes when you're really successful, you can be painted into a corner. You can be in a position where no one, well, like these Hollywood types you're talking about. No one's going to feel sympathy for a multimillionaire Hollywood movie star. Oh, boo-hoo, you've got problems. I'm sorry. Like in some ways, they might even have more challenges than the rest of us, because it's not like anybody's caring about them. Like, oh, let's help you. They're almost like, what problems could you possibly have? You're a Hollywood movie star. And so it's like where do they turn to get help? Where do they turn to feel better? And you can see that when you get more successful, you can be boxed into a corner, and it can be really challenging to feel good, to feel happy in the midst of that.
Yes.
Everything the world can provide.
You're absolutely right. And I've met people that you would think, wow, you got everything. You've got everything. But this, one of the things I teach is that the physicality is only 10% of the equation.
Yeah.
You can have the mansion, or you can have the career, and nothing wrong with any of those things. Have everything. But if you think about this is the bell ringer. It's not the mansion that you want. It's the way you feel about yourself when you have the mansion or the career. That's why so many people come to Hollywood, 10,000 a day coming here, to prove to the world that there's somebody, or to show the kids, who wouldn't let me sit at the lunchroom with them, that I'm going to be a star one day. And it's all the way we feel. And we're led on all these wild goose chases. Like you said, well, when I make $1 million, when I become a movie star, when I'm this, and you know what? You can have that right now. You can have whatever feeling that you think is going to, make you worthy or make you happy. You can have that right now if you're energetically aware. But the low vibration energy says, no, not now. Someday you'll get it. Don't be happy now. Don't be fulfilled now. Someday when you get that, and maybe you'll get it. And if you get it, you'll see that's not the answer. Or if you don't get it, you'll go, geez, I could have been that movie, so I could have been a contender, but I didn't get it. Now I'm miserable because I didn't get it. No, our happiness, and one of the things, here's another nugget of energy awareness training. All we get is life right here, right now. We don't get it yesterday. We don't get it tomorrow. So being able to keep your awareness and what I call being in presence in this moment, you recognize, oh, you got problems? You're worried about some? Well, where is it right now? Oh, it's not here. Oh, so it must be in your head. So most of our lives, we worry about things, and we torment ourselves about things that will never happen, and they're never going to happen. And it's such a waste of energy. But what it does is it robs us from being fully present right now. And in energy awareness, one of the things that you learn how to be is fully present right here, right now. That's why you can be happy no matter what's going on. Because in full presence, you're either, whatever's happening, you're dealing with it. You're not thinking about it. And it's the thoughts, it's the whole thought process that torments us. Like you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't back to sleep. Why? Because the thoughts are just going round and round. Well, one of the benefits, the greatest benefits of energy awareness training is a quiet mind, is the ability to have peace. And when do you have peace? When you're not thinking. When you're thinking, you got stress. But when you're not thinking, when you have peace, it's the greatest feeling in the world. And that usually happens after the most wonderful things we experience in life. Seeing a beautiful sunset, hearing a beautiful piece of music, after a great session of lovemaking, a great meal. After you complete that, there's a quiet, there's a silence, there's a contentment. And that's the space you can keep all the time if you make the decision to become energetically aware. But, energetic freedom isn't free. It takes dedication. It takes focus. It takes persistence to be able to do this, because you have an energy that doesn't want you to do it. So this is the process of the energetic awakening.
Thanks for talking with me today, by the way. What if somebody wants to know more? Let's say somebody's watching this and they're like, okay, I want to find out what Glenn's about, maybe even work with Glenn or look at some of the, I'm sure you're developing some digital programs and products over time as you begin to continue this work. Where could somebody find out more if they're interested?
They can go to energyawareness.secrets.com.
Okay.
Energyawareness.secrets.com. And I have some beginner instructions on people who are interested in this, in the courses, and they can find me on Facebook too. I'm easy. I'm on all the social media platforms, and it's a joy for me to be able to talk this and share with it.
And it's Glenn, Glenn, and then spell your last name, Ackerman. How's that spelled?
Ackerman.
Okay, Glenn Ackerman. We could probably Google your name too and get different resources and links and all that.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to
find out, and I find if anybody contacts me and lets me know that they heard from me through you, I'll
get brownie points or something.
Something nice for them.
You give me a high five. You'll be like, yeah, thanks, Joel, for sending people my way. Well, I believe in what you're doing, and I'm doing work with you. So, and I want to continue. In fact, I'm to the point where I want to get you on one of our stages at one of our live events to talk about this with our students and our audience. I want people to feel some of the things you do in a room and walk people through some of the energy stuff in the future. We come out maybe into Los Angeles later this year, because you're in LA right now. And I just want to find more opportunities to get you in front of people that I care about, which are the people that are watching and listening right now. Because I think you've got some really powerful stuff to share. And I can't speak more highly of my work with you. It's been a great experience working with you. It's not over yet. I'm going to continue the work. And I'm excited about, reviewing next year, hanging out, talking, Glenn, and seeing like where, my energy awareness training has come over time, where hopefully I can be giving back to as a leader in my community, to be taking some of the things I'm learning with you to the people that I really care about. So thank you. Check Glenn out if you're watching. Also leave comments or ask questions below this video. And Joel Mark Witt for Personal Hacker. Thanks, Glenn. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me, Joel. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay.